And from that, it's possible to see how enterprises, leading enterprises, are dealing with CSR. And which, as also this man from Nestle said, is really in the idea of connect seeking profit with some making good for society and all the stakeholders. But this can't always happen. Already in 1967, Simon showed up the big businessman decision problem. Underline that it's not always possible to allocate values in favor of shareholders and in favor of producers, workers, employees, and so on. And often there are conditions in the management activity that makes a value allocation in the favor of everybody not possible. Normally in a for-profit company, shareholders and who lead the enterprise has obviously the possibility to decide where to allocate these resources. And then McWilliams and Siegel in 2001, they studied CSR and they analyzed it in the perspective of enterprises, which is the level of optimal CSR. And they saw how enterprises can have an advantage to invest in CSR up until a certain level, depending by the kind of enterprise, by the market, and so on. And going out of this level means a loss of profit. But at the same time, but the other way is that companies can just do this level of CSR, and the amount of CSR is somehow limited. And it faces another problem, which is the problem of information asymmetries. What an enterprise does is not known by everybody, it's not known by society, it's not known by citizens. And so there is an inequality, and there are companies that can have a wonderful CSR, but then be completely unethical and have really evil behavior in other countries in the world. If somebody happened in Vietnam, how can we know here if there is not a way to do that? And therefore this creates a very big limitation in the possibility of fair trade through the labeling system in order to influence the market in this way. The other way is the way of the alternative trade organization, the other way of fair trade that fair trade is working on now. And these organizations are different because they do just fair trade. They have a social aim as their mission and their vision, and they care about the production, the development of projects, the processing of products, and the retailing of products in specific networks of shops and so on. And this creates a completely different way of doing business, which is actually challenging the traditional way of doing business. And I put this way in the perspective of the three sectors: public sector, market, and third sector. We have the state that is doing his activity of state, offering services to citizens and so on. We have the market, which is doing also his fields, supplying products, services, and so on. And we have what is called third sector, which are organizations, charities, associations, civil society in general. And normally what happens that in the moment that the public sector is devolving activity that is doing, normally market or third sector try to get them, hospitals, schools, and so on. But with the case of fair trade and this alternative trade organization, this specific kind of, we can call NGOs of organization, challenge the market directly on his field, and is going to grasp shares of market in what normally was just dealt by normally for-profit company. And this can really create a shift. If we imagine in 20 years that are not for-profit companies anymore selling the product that we buy every day, but they are a different kind of organization, the impact, social impact, and ethical impact of this can be radically different. And therefore I come to my conclusion that as far as the labeling model doesn't change the kind of organization, doesn't create new categories, doesn't change the way of doing business, it can be considered, I would say, neither a turn. Then about the ethical, I think we would have to speak much more to decide what is ethical or not in business. But for sure, I would say that this is neither a turn, and therefore neither an ethical turn. Instead, what I say in the case of alternative trade organization it can be a really challenge to the market with a different kind of organization which are new, which are responding to different criteria. We have to be studied with different criteria compared to the traditional management and marketing strategy. And this can be a turn. About the ethical, we have to discuss about how strong can be this turn. This is a big question mark, because it depends by the condition, it could happen, and depend by how market will evolve. What I would say now is that in the case of economic crisis or deep change in our economic structure, an alternative kind of model could really be of interest in our future. That's it. Thank you.